Hello everyone, welcome to Puzzle League. Today, we will see a variant of the classic Sudoku puzzle called Diagonal Sudoku. I'll be going over the rules as well as a few examples to help you get familiar with the puzzle. Also, please excuse the Korean writing in the on-screen book. We are working to publish English versions of Puzzle League soon, but don't worry. In the meantime, there'll be English translations provided on the screen. Alright then, let's begin. Here are the rules. Each row must contain each number from 1 to 4. Each column must contain each number from 1 to 4. Each block, outlined in bold, must contain each number from 1 to 4. And both diagonals must contain each number from 1 to 4. As you can see here, there are 2 diagonals per puzzle. I'll go through one of the tips here so you can see the process behind solving these puzzles. First, let's take a look at this example. Let's find the number that should go in the green cell. 3 out of the 4 numbers in this diagonal already exist. Therefore, the number that goes in the green cell has to be the missing number, which is the number 3. Now, let's fill in the blue cells. The numbers 2 and 3 already exist in the third block. Therefore, the numbers that have to go in the blue cells are the numbers 1 and 4. But which one would go where? If you take a look at the first column, the number 4 already exists. Therefore, the number 1 has to go in this cell, and the number 4 has to go in this cell. Now, let's try completing the rest of the puzzle. In the first column, the only number that is missing is the number 3. Now, if we look at this first block, numbers that are missing are 1 and 2. However, the number 1 already appears in this second row, so the number 1 must go here, and therefore the number 2 must go here. Now, if we look at the first row, the only number that is missing is the number 2. And the only number that is missing in the second row is the number 3. Now, let's take a look at the third column. The numbers that are missing are 3 and 4. Since the number 3 already appears in the third row, the number 3 must appear here. And the number 4 must go here. Now, we can fill in this other diagonal. And we know that the number 1 goes here. And finally, if we look at the fourth block, the only number that is missing is number 2. There we go. Now if you take a look at every block, every row, every column, and every diagonal, you'll notice that each number from 1 to 4 appears. And that's it. Alright, for this example, looking at the first block, in which cell would the number 1 go? Well, taking a look at this diagonal, we know that the number 1 cannot appear in this cell or this cell. Therefore, the number 1 must appear in this cell. Let's try filling in all the number 1s. There should be 4 in total. We know that there is a number 1 in the first row. Where would the number 1 be in the second row? It can't be over here because the number 1 already exists in that column. And it can't go here because the number 1 already exists in that column as well. Therefore, the number 1 must go in this cell. For the third row, the number 1 cannot appear in this cell or this cell, because there are number 1s already in that column. Therefore, the number 1 must appear here. And in the fourth row, the number 1 already exists. Great. Now we'll complete the rest of the puzzle. Let's take a look at this first block. The numbers that are missing are numbers 3 and 4. the number 3 cannot go in this cell because the number 3 is already present in that column. Therefore, the number 3 has to go here, which makes the number 4 go here. Now, the only number that is missing from this second row is the number 3, so we fill it in. Let's fill in these bottom two cells. The number that is missing from this first column is the number 4, so we can fill it in. And the number that is missing in the empty cell of the second column is the number 2. Now that we know that, we can fill in this bottom row. The number that is missing is number 3. If we take a look at this diagonal here, we can see that the number 2 is missing, so we can fill that in as well. And if we take a look at this last column, we can see that number 4 is missing. We also know that the number 2 is missing here. And if you look at this block, we can see that the number 4 is missing here. And that's it. Every block, row, column, and diagonal has each number from 1 to 4. Alright, now let's try an actual example. Here, we have puzzle number 53. Using the techniques we just learned, let's try to solve this. Let's take a moment and look at the puzzle. We know that this second column has 2 out of the 4 numbers. So let's start with this column. The numbers that are missing from this column are the numbers 1 and 2. However, because of the number 2 in the last row, the number 1 must go here, and the number 2 must go here. Now, let's take a look at the last row. The numbers that are missing are the numbers 3 and 4. But because of the 4 in the last column, number 3 must go here, and the number 4 goes here. Now in this block, the only number that is missing is the number 2. In this fourth block, the numbers that are missing are the numbers 1 and 4. However, the number 4 already exists in the last column, therefore the number 1 must go here, and the number 4 must go here. If you look at this diagonal, the only number that is missing is the number 1. And the only number that is missing from this first block is the number 3. Now if you look at the second row, we can fill in this cell with the number 1. And now just looking at the two columns, we know that the number that goes in this cell is the number 3, and here is the number 2. Take a look and see that for yourself that every block, row, column, and diagonal has every number from 1 to 4. Alright, that was example 53. Now I want you to try the other puzzles. If you have any questions or get stuck along the way, feel free to ask them in the comments below. I hope this helped.